I am in my mid 20s. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, and that's okay. Hey guys, and welcome to One More Mile podcast. I am Paula, and I'm your host. I know I promised an episode a week, and I think I've been doing one every 15 days, but life has been interesting. I quit my job. I'm starting a new job in like a month. The Paris Marathon is in like 20 something days, and I'm just trying to keep up with everything. And this episode has a lot to do with that. This episode it's just an inspiration. It's just, I don't even know what this episode is going to be. It is okay if you're feeling lost, especially if you're in your 20s and in your 30s. And it's okay if you have no idea what you're doing with your life. In fact, I think it's actually very, very powerful. Maybe you are like me and you're at a point in your life where you are changing jobs or you are changing careers, changing the industry that you're at. You're in the beauty industry, you're going to the hospitality industry, you're going to the medical industry, the tech industry, you're going to the airline industry. It could be anything that you're doing with your life, and you're breaking the pattern of following what we've been taught this whole time about life. And I think especially for my Virgo brain is very tricky because I always thought that I had to, you know, go to school, get good grades, graduate, get into college, graduate again, find someone, date that someone, marry that someone, get a good job, get a stable job, get an office job, start to have kids with that someone, and then just work for 40 years and retire and pass away. I feel like that's the norm, and that's what they've been told us since forever. And when something happens that you can control or that is not as part as the plan, people tend to freak out. But in reality, I think it's the biggest blessing that could happen in your life. As human beings, we are always evolving. We're always growing and we're always changing. And that's okay. It's fine if you knew what you wanted at 15 years old. It's fine if you have set goals and set plans or things that you want to do, dreams, ambitions. That's perfect. I think that's actually a good fuel for you to get motivated and start accomplishing things in life. But it's also fine if you have no idea what you're doing and what your next step is going to be. And it's actually fine if you knew what you wanted and then you don't want it anymore and you change completely, 180 degrees change. That's also fine. There's people, I used to have friends in high school that they knew from the moment they could have kids that they wanted to be a mom, they wanted to have a family, they wanted to be a parent. When they grow up, they were people that they know. And then there's me where I feel like there's eras in my life where I'm like, yes, I really want to have a family and I really want to have kids. And then there's times where I'm like, no, I don't think I want to do that to my body. I don't think I want that responsibility. I don't think I'm built for that. And then I change again and I'm like, no, I think I have a great support system. I have a great husband. I have a great family that will help me take care of the kid. Like, I think I can do it. I want to have that experience. I want to feel a human being growing in my belly, blah, blah, blah. And then I go back again into like, no, I feel like I don't want to. And I think that's fine. I think, especially as a woman, a lot of people are going to tell you, oh, you're going to miss the train, blah, 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 blah. You need to do it now. You need to have them now. Have them young, blah, blah, blah. You need to do whatever you want. If you want to have them now, have them now. If you don't want to have them, never. Don't get pregnant, never. Like, it is your life. It's your choice. And you're able to change that choice no matter what. And this not only with kids and pregnancy, it's just, it came to my brain. But this with literally everything that you do. I feel like life is a funny circle. It's like the circle of life. It's like the movie. It's literally a circle of life because I feel like you could change your mentality so much. That's why a lot of people with a lot of things. They're like, no, I don't want to be in a relationship. And then 2 years later, you see them getting married and you're like, wow, you were so afraid of commitment. Why are you changing this radically in the span of a year? And it's because we open our minds to different experiences, to different people, different cultures, different ways of living, different everything. We open our minds to so many different things that it's good that your mind and your decisions and your desires are changing. And if they're not, maybe you're not opening your mind as much as you should. It could happen that one day you wake up and you're inspired to change careers and to change the field that you work at. And I've known people that they work in the beauty industry and they love it. And it's just like very this fashion and the glamour and fashion week and doing makeup and going to FIT and designing your costumes, blah, blah, blah. And then one day they're like, my dream was to be a nurse and help people. And I feel like I'm not helping people here. And they go to nursing school when they're in their mid 30s. You can change your career at any time. It is never too late. You could do it. It will be hard. Yes, you will probably get in debt. Probably. I feel like you also don't need a degree to help you achieve certain things. Yes, I do think that's important. I mean, I went to college in my country. I did 2 years of communications and then I dropped up, moved to New York. I worked 3 years in the hospitality industry, in the restaurant industry. And those 3 years show me that I don't want to work in the hospitality industry. It is too much for me. Then I came into the beauty industry. I worked in retail. Retail is the job that I'm leaving right now. Retail is also something that I don't think I want to do ever again. I feel like now I'm starting this corporate journey. I'm going to have a corporate job. I'm going to have a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And if you would have asked me when I was 15 that I was going to be having a 9 to 5 office job, my 15-year-old self would have gone crazy, would have been like, what are you doing? You were going to have financial freedom and you were going to be your own boss and you were going to be an entrepreneur. You were going to have your own business, blah, 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 blah. Well, my 25-year-old self is very grateful. I don't want anything else than an office job. I've been manifesting it. I want to clock in at 9 a.m. I want to clock out at 5 p.m. I want to have my weekends off. I want to have my afternoons off. I want to disconnect from that. I don't want to be my own boss right now. That's just what I want. You change your mind. You keep evolving. You keep growing. Feeling lost just means that you're going to be able to find yourself. And if you're not able to find yourself, you're going to be able to create a new self. You can create a new identity this exact moment. You can wake up tomorrow and be like, okay, I'm going to be the best version of myself. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and go run 5 miles every day and eat healthy. And this is going to be my new me. Literally, that's on you. And that's with everything. If you want to go into like that fitness lifestyle, if you want to go into anything, if you want to do anything, write a book, read more, meditate, anything, but you can do it now. Or it could be with either behaviors that you have. Okay, starting from now on, I'm not going to be as sarcastic as I am. Starting from now on, I'm not going to be as explosive as I am. I'm not going to be as jealous as I am. I'm not going to be as sensitive as I am. It could be anything that you want to change. Being lost or not knowing what to do with your life or with yourself, especially in your 20s and 30s, is the biggest blessing that you're going to have. Especially because you're going to be open to so much more opportunities, people, experiences, cultures, and just things that are gonna feed, and you're gonna see the world differently. It's like, horses, when they say that they can only see the vision in front of them, but they cannot see from the sides. You're not a horse. You're not supposed to be, okay, I have the goal of being the manager of this place and that's it. No. You could be so focused on one thing that you're missing on so many opportunities on the sides just because you're focused on the main goal right in front of you. And not bad to be focused on one thing, but open yourself to many more things. just so you can understand how life will bring you more blessings, if that makes sense. In the summer of last year, I didn't had a good amount of friends. I had for like 5 friends that I can count with my hand. And I met Walter, my current best friend, and he came up with the idea. He just texted me one day and he's like, would you like to start a run club of your own? Is that something that you've thought about it? He pitched the idea to me. I thought that was crazy. I thought that was crazy. Never in a million years, I thought I will start a community of my own. I've started businesses. I used to have my clothing business in Ecuador, where I was making money out of that and living out of that. But I feel like a business is not the same as a community. A community feels so much more in deep and personal. Again, my business was a business, and you could be very passionate about your business, but when you're building a community with people, you're literally giving these people access to your heart, and that could be panicking. That could be like, oh, what if they break my heart in the long term, you know? But anyways, we started our run club, we started our community, and that was literally me just not seeing straight, because I could have been like, no, why would I like to start with that? I'm just gonna keep doing my 9+1 program to be able to run the city marathon by myself, and I'm gonna be a solo runner forever, because I've been doing this for like a while now and I want to keep doing it for a while. Instead, I opened my mind to the opportunity, and I was like, yeah, why not? Yeah, I love to run. I love to talk to people. I need friends. I want friends. I'm a very friendly and outgoing person. It's just I'm an immigrant and I haven't been able to fully open myself in this country, but I'm going to open myself and see what this could be. And it's been amazing and it's been great. And that is just an example of how, yes, keep your eye on the main goal, but open your mind to possibilities. You never know what door, what window is going to open for you, but just not try to be focused on one thing. Remember when you were in high school, 15, 16, 17, when you were a teenager and you felt so lost, especially that senior year when you are probably choosing what career path you're going to take, and you have to do all of these exams and admissions to go to college, and you're scared because your whole future depends on you deciding what you're gonna do. Like, potentially what you could be doing for the next 40, 50 years of your life depends on the decision of a 16-year-old person. That to me is crazy, because why on earth? Like, it come to a point where I really really wanted to be a lawyer. I mean, I think I could do it, but I don't see myself as a passionate lawyer right now. And that could have been me if I decided that at 17 and I didn't change my whole life out of nowhere. But what I'm trying to say is that the same feeling that you were having when you were a teenager, that you didn't know what to do, you didn't know what career to take, or you didn't know what life was going to bring, and you felt so hopeless and so lost, it's okay to be having it is okay to be having that feeling again in your 20s and in your 30s, because right now the good thing is that you have that feeling, but you have all of the experience that you've been able to achieve in these years. And you probably have financial stability or more financial freedom. I'm not saying that you're a millionaire and you can do whatever you want, but I'm saying that, okay, during your 20s or 30s, you probably already had a few jobs, even if they're at a fast food place, at an ice cream shop, at a clothing store, even if they're like the simplest and easiest job ever, even though I think every job has their difficulties. You have probably at least one job experience that you can rely on, a little bit of savings that you can rely on. You have met people. You probably have love experiences that people broke your heart and then you fall in love all over again and then you repeat the cycle. You know yourself now. You have your values. You have the behaviors that you know how you react. You know the things that you like and you know the things that you don't like. You may not know the goal that you want to achieve yet, but you know yourself better than when you were a teenager. So you're not coming from scratch right now. You have all of the experience in the world. And this feeling is not going to last forever. I promise that this feeling of being lost and not knowing what to do is not going to last forever. And you probably might feel it again in your 40s and in your 50s and in your 60s and in every decade. But that just means that you have another time, another chance to discover more about yourself and to try new things. And that's amazing. From a perspective of you wanting to do a change, right? Just like I was telling you guys, I decided to quit my retail job because I wanted to do the change. I was just tired of it, and I could do a whole podcast about the restaurant and the retail industry, but I just needed a change. And I feel so blessed. I feel so happy. I'm embracing this new journey of my life with open arms and with an open mind, and taking every single possibility, networking with people, and taking every opportunity that I can into my own hands and trying to make the best out of it. But what will happen if you are doing this out of a place of fear? Maybe you didn't want to quit your job and you got fired, you got laid off. Maybe you were in a relationship and that someone broke up with you. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you fought with your friends. Maybe you don't have friends anymore. Maybe you're in no contact with your friends. Maybe you're suffering a really bad injury that is preventing you from doing the sport that you love. Rejection is just redirection. I've heard that everywhere. But really, take this as a blessing, even if you didn't want the change, even if you didn't want the discomfort, even if you didn't want to feel lost, because I know it could be defeated. I know if you get laid off, you could be like, wow, I really don't want to be in this industry anymore. I want to switch. If you broke up with someone, a heartbreak is serious, guys. A heartbreak is tough. You could be like, I don't believe in love anymore. I really want to give up. If you have an injury, you could be like, I don't ever want to do this sport again. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to heal and do it all over again to risk being injured again. But it's on you, and you have the power and you have the decision if you want to, like, okay, I'm going to make the best out of this, and I'm going to continue applying to different jobs in the same market, in the same industry that I am, or hell, or just be like, bye, I'm becoming a barista, because my dream was always to make lattes with little drawings and the foam on top of it. And I love coffee, and this is what I'm going to do with my life. And it's on you if you want to be like, oh, I don't want to fall in love all over again. I want to be single for the next 10 years. And then who knows, I'll marry my best friend from high school that we make a pact to get married at 40. Or you could be like, I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to go to every bar in the city every night and try to meet a guy and see where this takes us. Actually trying to heal from your injury so you can come back to your sport that you love. Or you could try a totally different sport and fell in love with it. I hated running. I hated running. When I was in high school, when I was in college, when I was in Ecuador, 21 years old, I hated running with all my life. And now at 25, I am paying to run marathons. I'm training for marathons. I'm running like crazy, and I love to run. So you have the power to change that in your life, and you have the power to decide how is this episode going to change you, and how is this feeling of being lost gonna force you to move on, and how is this feeling gonna build you and build your character for the new things that will come along the way. Life is not linear. We all start in the same place. It's not like Benjamin Button that we start backwards. We all start in the same place. We all come into this earth as babies, and then we keep growing up. But it's not a book of rules that we have to follow, that you have to go to school, and then you have to get married, and then you have to have kids. That's not the case. You can start in the middle and get a career, and then adopt your first kid when you're 50, and everyone will call you grandpa, but who cares, because you already fulfill everything that you want to fulfill in your life before. Or you could start having kids at 15. You know what? I messed up, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to embrace it. And then you could become a millionaire at 30 because you started having kids early. It could be anything. I'm just rambling at this point. I don't know what I'm saying. But my point is that life might seem linear, and probably because I'm saying me and my group friend, a lot of us have very conventional lives. Majority of the people that I know went to school, graduated, have a good job, and they're getting to know someone, and now they're getting married, and ta-da. It's like linear. But it's okay if sometimes you're that little black sheep over there that, like my case, I first got married and then I drop out of school and then I switch industries and now I'm just getting my first corporate job. So I feel like I'm the newbie of all of my friends that already have corporate jobs. But I won't be the newbie of getting married. I will have like 2 years being married. So life is just, you have to navigate your life, but you have to understand that this feeling of not knowing what to do with your life is the biggest blessing that you're gonna have. This is the time where you can open your mind to new opportunities, to new blessings. And I promise to you, no matter what you believe on, if it's something religious or if it's something non tangible, if it's the universe, whatever you pray, whatever you do, you will have abundance in your life if you open your mind to own this discomfort. This episode was something that you liked and enjoy. This was just me rambling about things that are going on in my life and how I feel. And I hope someone might identify it and feel a little bit at peace with this. I feel like it could be a very lonely feeling, this thing of being lost in the world, but we've all been there. We're all here. We've all come back to that feeling again, and we're all gonna get out of it. But it is a blessing. I don't see it as something bad. I see it as something wonderful and beautiful, and you only get to know yourself a little bit more every day. I promise I'm gonna try my best to come back next week with another episode. But thank you so much for listening. Please, 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 you will help me a lot if you rate the podcast on Spotify. Give it 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can also comment, subscribe, share the channel, and I will appreciate it a lot. All of my social media are gonna be in the link somewhere. I don't know, you have to look for it, but they're gonna be somewhere. And you might want to follow me, especially on Instagram and TikTok, because the Paris Marathon is coming and I will be blogging and posting pictures, carousels, reels, TikToks, everything. So you might want to be on the look for that. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.